What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to part 3 of this series that we're doing, talking about the next great one. We have previously talked about the Rocky Mountain elk great one and the possibility of the fallow deer great one as well. And if you haven't seen those two videos, I will link them down below in the description. Check those out and get caught up. In this video, we're going to talk about the possibility of the next great one being the moose. All right, so a moose, great one. This is the #1 pick for a lot of people, including me, for a whole bunch of reasons, and we're going to talk about that in this video. We talked about the Rocky Mountain elk. A lot of people really dig in the idea of a Rocky Mountain elk. I think it would be really cool for the game. It would be another great one in Silver Ridge Peaks. Fallow deer, of course, are a good possibility. A lot of people think that it has to be a base game, base map animal, right? So Hirschfelden or Leighton Lakes. The first 3 great ones have all been base map animals. We started with the whitetail. They are on Leighton Lakes, and then we got one from Hirschfelden, the red deer, and then we got another one from Leighton, the black bear. So a lot of people think that that might be a pattern that's forming. It's kind of hard to form a pattern or kind of imagine what a pattern would be when you've only got 3 things. So I don't know if that is a pattern. So far it's gone Leighton, Hirschfelden, Leighton, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there is a pattern there or that is some kind of rule. So I think if it does have to be a base map animal, it could definitely be a Leighton Lakes animal or a Hirschfelden animal neck. So I think it could certainly be something from Leighton, like the moose, for example. But fallow deer we talked about in the last video of this series, and that is a Hirschfelden animal. So very likely could be a fallow deer great one coming to the game. But yeah, check out that video if you didn't already. Links down in the description below. But the moose, let's talk about a moose great one. Why a moose great one, KC? You might be asking yourself, KC, why are you so adamant about this next great one being a moose? Why have you been talking about this for so long? I've been talking about a moose great one since just before Tiao Row was coming out. I made a video talking about my 5 top picks for the next map, and we talked about a great one moose in that video. And since then, I've kind of been just wanting a great one moose. I think it would be so good for the game. I was really expecting the moose to be the next great one on the next map. When Revontuuli Coast came out, I was predicting a Sweden map with a great one moose. It turned out to be Finland, and I was absolutely shocked that we didn't get a great one moose on Revontuuli Coast from that release. We ended up getting the black bear instead, and the reason for that is the moose, I think, are just the best option, the best thing for the game as far as creating hype, making people happy, giving the people what they want. We're talking about another great one on Leighton Lakes, of course, but we're also talking about a great one on Medvedtega. Medvedtega could really use a lot of love. It is probably the most underrated map in the game. I love Medvedtega. I've heard from countless numbers of people that just think that Medved just needs another species or another couple species. I think a great one would be a great thing to add. The map needs something added to it. It needs something to liven it up a little bit, and I think a great one would do a really good job of doing that. They would probably sell a lot of copies of the Medvedtega DLC if there was a great one moose. Not only would Medvedtega be getting some love, but Yukon Valley would be too. Yukon Valley would also get a great one on the map with a great one moose, and Yukon Valley could use a little bit of love too. It's not nearly as underrated as Medvedtega, I don't think, within the community, but it needs a little bit of love too. It could use another species. It could use, you know, a lot of people would love to see Dall sheep on Yukon or muskox or Sitka blacktail or something like that. A great one moose would be huge for Yukon Valley, so that would give us a great one in Medvedtega, a great one in Leighton Lakes, a great one in Yukon Valley, and it would also give us a great one on Revontuuli Coast, which I think would be just absolutely incredible. So I think of all the animals that could be the next great one, it's my opinion that the moose is at the top as far as what it would do for the game, the hype that it would generate, the amount of players that would just absolutely love to hunt and grind for a great one moose. I don't think there's any better option than that for the game at this time. I think the moose in general make for a really good grinding animal. I think the grind would be very balanced as far as you know, hunting and grinding them goes. Obviously we have to take into account, you know, what it would be like to actually do a moose grind, to hunt for a moose, you know, for that amount of time and actually try to get a great one moose. I think the moose make for a really balanced option. I think hunting moose is not, it's not the easiest animal to hunt. It's not necessarily maybe the most exciting, but I think it would make for a good balanced grind on Revontuuli or Yukon specifically. Even Medved could make for a really good moose grind, I think. I think Revontuli would probably be where I would go, probably either Revontuli or Yukon, but I think it would make for a really good grind. Revontuli and Yukon are really, really good for moose, and Medved's actually really good too. So it would give us, players would have really good options. I think a lot of people would probably even do Leighton. Leighton's really good for moose too. If you're into, if you want to run the rivers and do the Leighton grind, I think that would be a viable option as well. So I think it would actually make for 4 good options for a moose grind. I also think if they did a Great One Moose, I think it would look incredible. I don't know exactly what they would do graphically, but I think they would come up with something really, really cool. And, for all we know, the next map could have moose on it too, so we could be looking at a 5-map species. We don't know what that next map is going to be. Who knows if it'll have moose on it? So really, really interesting to think about, I think. As far as different variations go with the moose, there's a lot of possibilities for that too. A lot of really cool, unique opportunities for them to do some really cool things with rare variations, rare fur variations. They could do velveting if they wanted to. Maybe some shedding velvet would be amazing on a Great One Moose. They could do the moss in the antlers, right? They could do the moss or the vines in the antlers. They could do the white moose. They could do the white moose as a great one. That would be super, super cool. Albino, melanistic. They've got the mocha moose already in the game for the mission, right? The mission mocha moose. They could maybe do some really cool variations that are exclusive only to the Great One Moose. So there's tons of really cool possibilities for that as well. I would absolutely love to see EW start to release a new weapon with each new Great One. Every time a new Great One comes out, I think it should come with a new weapon in the game that would be good for hunting that new Great One, right? So with the moose, I think it would be super cool if they added another big game rifle. We really do need something to challenge the 300 as kind of the top dog in the big game category in the game. Not a lot of people use the 338. Obviously, there's the 470, but it's not a lot of hunters are out there using the 470. It's extremely expensive. The ammo is extremely expensive, and you can't take long-range shots. So pretty much everybody is sticking to the 300. It would be cool to see something square off against the 300 for, the top dog choice in that category. I think it would be really cool to see another 7mm in the game, something with more than one round before having to reload. A Winchester Magnum would be cool. I think a 308 Winchester would be really cool. It'd be nice to see another 308. Something that you could shoot moose with, I think would be awesome for moose. A 375 Ruger or H&H would be really cool. Would love to see a 375 caliber added to the game, or a 416 Remington. Something that we can go out and hunt the bigger game with in the game, so we don't have, pretty much only 1 or 2 options. I think that would be really nice, and I think it would pair really well with a new Great One. I think it would have been really cool if they added, a new weapon for the black bear, something, that's specifically good for hunting black bear with the new black bear Great One. Hindsight is 2020. I think that would be really cool moving forward. I really do hope that they're going to continue to go forward with adding a new Great One simultaneously with a new map. The last map was the first time they did that with Revontuli Coast, adding a Great One simultaneously, and I was predicting that long before we had any clues that was going to happen, which was 100% just because I really wanted them to do that, and I thought it would be a really good thing for them to do as far as building hype and generating excitement within the community. And then they did it, and I think that was just super, super awesome to do. So I really do hope that moving forward, with the addition of new maps, we do get a simultaneous Great One, and I think it would be even more awesome if they would give us a new weapon specifically for that new Great One as well. I think that would be just amazing. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. What do you guys think? What do you guys want the next Great One to be? Also, what do you want the next map to be? If you had to pick a combination, the next map, because in December we should be getting a new map. So in December, what map do you want to see? And if there is going to be a new Great One added at the same time, what do you want to see for the Great One? Do you want to see a Great One Moose? Are you thinking fallow deer, Rocky Mountain elk? Let me know down in the comments and let's start talking about it. Thank you guys very much for watching. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. I really appreciate it. It helps so much. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're on the road to 40,000 subscribers. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.